Last month, Shakira's tax avoidance case in Spain finally settled, so we're going to cover it. Shakira was facing 15 million euros in unpaid taxes, is what was alleged, and the years were 2012 to 2014. The main issue was her tax residency. Where was she physically for those years to determine if she was a resident in Spain or a resident in the Bahamas, where she contested she was. Now, every country has slightly different tax residency laws, what you need to do in that country to be a tax resident. But in Spain, you needed to be present physically in Spain for more than 6 months of the income year. Shakira said she wasn't. The Spanish tax authorities said, yes, you were. No doubt they had reviewed travel records in detail to come to that conclusion. Apparently, the Spanish tax authority also had her followed for a long period of time. When she went to the hairdresser, obviously social media was very easy to track where a superstar is going to be. But most tellingly, her boyfriend lived in Spain because he was a soccer player, I think. Now, Shakira waited until the last minute to settle this case. So they settled for 50 cents on the dollar of the alleged tax liability of around 15 million euros. So they settled for 7.5 million euros, plus an additional fine of around 500,000 euros. She was also looking at jail time if she lost this case. So that's clearly a big motivator to settle. But in the press release, it's really interesting. She said she settled for emotional reasons, not because she didn't think she had a strong case, because she had a prestigious accounting firm, PwC, advising her on this for the whole period. Funnily enough, the Spanish tax authority has another case pending against Shakira for the 2018 tax year. That was only announced in September, and the first offer for settlement happened in July, case in September, and then November. She settles the case. I think it shows she was a bit exhausted. This case is a cautionary tale for everybody who thinks if you get a second passport, if you establish residency in a country, it means you can't be a resident in another country. You can actually be resident of 2 countries at once for tax purposes. Because the Bahamas and Spain didn't have a tax treaty, it means that when there was a dispute when she was a resident of both, it couldn't be resolved by a treaty. Instead, she's just a resident of both. Obviously, in the Bahamas, she paid 0, and in Spain, she, settled this case. So if you're changing your tax residency to leave Australia or any country, you should get advice to make sure that you've cut those ties, get a ruling in Australia if that's what you're going to do. And it's even more important if you're going to a non-treaty country. The main one that I see is the UAE. That's a big problem.